Ah, toilet paper. One of the most finest bathroom commodities of all time. I remember during COVID when these were sold out pretty much everywhere. Look, everyone takes a number 2 sometimes, and we gotta clean up after ourselves. Yeah, that's totally how we wipe our behinds. But what if we use toilet paper to make a blind bag? I did the tissue blind bag challenge before. This one shouldn't be that much harder. Now, to be as least wasteful as I can, I'm only going to use a few squares. I love crafting and all, but at the same time, a challenge as small as this shouldn't require the entire roll. That would be kinda overkill, don't you think? Phew, no one talks about just how much particulate dust cheap toilet paper emits. We can say goodbye to our toilet paper roll now. Thank you for your service. To start off the blind bag, I'm ripping 2 squares of toilet paper apart, making sure they're connected. We're going to use this as the blind bag cover. Before we begin coloring, I'm bringing in a notebook so that I don't accidentally get color on my filming surface. It's poster paper I'm filming on today, so one mistake and it's out. Normally for fragile surfaces like toilet paper, I would use my Sharpie brush pens, but unfortunately, the color selection is not as diverse as I would like them to be, so instead I dug into my Ohuhu ink markers and brought out a select few colors I wanted to use for my design. A yellow, 2 blues, and a tan. Can you guess what I'll be drawing? Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to either.
but as for the Sharpie brush markers, I'd probably still be able to use black and white. So for the front cover, I'm going with something simple here. When you think of toilet paper, what kinds of sensations do you get by just feeling it? I would assume you would think that it's soft and silky, right? Unless you have the ones that are as rough as sandpaper. I've used those many times. When I think of soft and silky, I think of clouds. Or at least that's how I imagine them to feel if us humans could touch them. So I'm making a cloud blind bag. I'm trying to make them as semi-realistic as I can, even though, you know, ink and toilet paper seem to be the worst enemies when it comes to drawing. And with a black pen, I'm drawing a little face for the large cloud front and center. For the title, I'm writing cloud in bubble letters and then writing blind bag underneath that. I'm adding in some extra dimension to the title using my dark tan marker. This is what we have so far. I'm gonna come back to this later, but moving our attention towards the back, I'm going to be writing 3 rarities: common, epic, and legend, as well as its rarity clouds to the left margin. With my white pen, I'm cleaning up the messy coloring. Now there's just one more thing we need to do, and that's write a little message in the bottom of the front cover with a black pen. Good message. With that, I'm going to start laminating my blind bag with clear tape, making sure that both the front and back cover are not only sealed, but also connected to form a bag. Make sure to close out the bottom as well, and just like that, here is our blind bag cover. I think now is a good time to clean up after ourselves, and this notebook page is slightly unholy to look at, so let me flip a few pages over so that we have a fresh new start. Now, as I was cleaning up, I was really starting to contemplate what I should make for the blind bag item. Sure, it's flimsy, but in my eyes, there's just so many different directions I could go with toilet paper. I might need an extra few squares for this project in case I mess up. Please spare me in the comments. I will use all of this, I promise. But for now, let's start working on the You Got paper. Or, I guess, the You Got toilet paper. I'm taking 1 square and folding it in half. For the front, I'm just writing You Got, which honestly was a little bit harder than using my usual brush pens because the ink kept trying to bleed into other areas,
and I didn't like that.
but eventually I got the hang of it and things turned out okay. The big question is, what rarity shall we make this blind bag? Legend it is. I chose this rarity simply because of the face. I know you guys would have done the same as well. To make it extra special, I'm writing congrats on the bottom, and we are done with the You Got toilet paper. Just as simple as that. Okay, time for the part I'm kind of dreading the most, the actual blind bag item. So you know how the rarity cloud for the legendary looks like this? Well, I'm going to use that to my advantage. First, I'm bringing out some chopsticks, tearing off the seal, pulling them apart, and breaking the chopsticks in half. Oh, well, actually, that was a happy accident because I wanted my chopstick to have a wedged edge. To make sure that the item can actually fit inside the blind bag, I'm going to cut this down. I'm using scissors to score where I want to break the chopsticks at, and then breaking it at the marked edge. It looks fine and all, but there's a glaring safety hazard, so I'm going to take some sandpaper to smooth out the sharp edges. Now for the toilet paper, I want to make the exact same cloud as the one on the You Got paper. I'm rolling the long sheet of toilet paper into a strip, and then taking some tape so that the toilet paper can attach onto the chopsticks well, which honestly really didn't do anything, but I did it anyway, so whatever. Now, as you can see, there's a little bit sticking out here. We're just going to fix this using this mysterious clear liquid of powerfulness. Okay, it's just clear skull glue in a mason jar, but can we appreciate just how satisfying this looks? If you saw the dirty edge, don't mind that, but I'm going to use the liquid glue to seal in the toilet paper onto itself. Make sure to glue the insides as well for extra sturdiness. And holding the toilet paper to dry, when I'm using liquid glue for thinner materials like these, I just count to 15 seconds and usually it's enough for the material to turn mostly dry. So this is what we have so far. This really isn't looking like a cloud, but that's where our scrap toilet paper comes in handy. I'm rolling this piece of toilet paper into a flattened rod shape and then applying glue to attach the flattened rod onto the toilet paper on the chopstick. You know, I never told you what I was planning on making. I'm making a roasted cloud marshmallow on a stick. Anyways, I'm continuing to roll small pieces of toilet paper and gluing them onto the main marshmallow part. At this point, I kind of gave up on being clean and proper and started dipping my fingers into the glue and lathering it onto the toilet paper, which honestly was what I should have done from the start.
It was actually much easier this way.
I'm going to let this dry real quick and I'll be right back. So, our cloud is dry enough to the touch, and next we have to draw the face. At first, I thought I could get away with using a black pen, but I ended up having to use black paint instead. I'm using this post-it pad as a little palette, squeezing it out, or not, I don't care, it's up to you. Paint bottle was so stubborn that I did the unthinkable. How could you? Anything to get this stupid paint out. Whatever, let's just get to drawing this face. This was probably the most difficult part of this entire blind bag process, which is kind of crazy considering it's just 2 eyeballs and a mouth. But the fact that I'm working on a surface that's essentially a tissue and I have poor control when it comes to paint, it really wasn't easy. With a white pen, I'm cleaning up all the black edges, and now I think it's finally time to secure the
Cloud marshmallow onto the chopstick.
I'm taking some hot glue, gluing the bottom edge, and sticking the chopstick through the marshmallow hole. Ouch!
That's gotta hurt.
I'm also going to break off a tiny bit of a toothpick and hot gluing it on top of the marshmallow so that the chopstick looks a little bit more like a stick. There we go. And one last thing, I'm bringing in some warm-toned Ohuhu markers to give the cloud marshmallow that roasted look. Admittedly, I'm not that crazy about marshmallows by themselves, but the sight of a roasted marshmallow is very appetizing, and I think these markers did a nice job at that. I had to bring in a Sharpie to add in some charcoal bits. There we have our item. I think it's now time to assemble our blind bag together. Inserting the blind bag item as well as the You Got bag, taping the top shut as well as closing off any untaped gaps. And here is our toilet paper blind bag. Even though things got a little messy towards the end, this was actually a lot easier than the tissue blind bag challenge. But now it's unboxing time. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Meepyblues out.